Yo, you already know the score. It's your big dog, Fatty. Outside looking inside, surviving prison. Cheers. Yo. So yeah, man, it's been so much going on. Especially with these two new presidents that we got. Feel like they done sold the country. And they just in there playing crazy. And really, it's gonna affect the world. It's gonna affect a lot of people. And if you don't know, you need to get in the know. So what I'm gonna do on this video, like I'm gonna drop some news that everybody can use. Came across this young man, Brian Tyler Cohen. Shout out to him. Shout out to Brian. If you ain't familiar with him, get familiar with him. He on YouTube. Follow his page, Brian Tyler Cohen, and cause he dropping jewels, and a lot of this he dropping jewels. This stuff that he's saying, like I said, it's gonna affect everybody, and it's even gonna reach in the penitentiary. Because like COs, they normal people too. So when they pockets start hurting, then guess what? Then they gonna do what they gotta do to help themselves, to relieve themselves, to get some more money. That mean contraband. That mean bringing more contraband into the prisons. And when it's more contraband, it's gonna be more violence. Because if the prices of everything going up, I mean, the struggle gonna go up too, and taking stuff and fighting to get it and stabbing and all that stuff. So it's gonna affect in so many ways inside of the prison, inside of the penitentiary, not just on the streets. And crime, I feel like the crime rate on the streets gonna go up too. So you know, without further ado, it's so much I can say about this, and there's so much that I am gonna say about this. But like I said, I wanted to bring y'all some news y'all can use. I found this young man, Brian Tyler Cohen. Shout out to him again with the Fair Use Act. I'm gonna put his video on here. So check this out.
And I want to ask you about Ukraine and the blow up the other day with Zelensky. Let me stay on the economy for a moment, because there are rising worries about a slowdown. You've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve saying we're going to have a contraction in the first quarter. Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here,
but are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition, because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great.
So Trump was asked a basic question. Do you think there will be a recession? And keep in mind, this is a guy who swept into office amid promises that he would lower costs on day one. His words, not mine. And yet now, when asked if his administration would usher in a recession, he offered up a whole word salad. But conspicuously absent in his rambling diatribe is one simple word: no. This is a situation where if the answer was no, you'd probably want to say it. And keep in mind, in case you thought that this was some slip of the tongue here for Trump, he's been previewing this repeatedly. Here he is also signaling a recession just a few days ago.
Even though those are low-paying jobs, the restaurant jobs and the leisure and hospitality jobs, they had sort of been a proxy for people having disposable money. A couple of days ago, Bank of America came out with their credit card data, and it was scary. I mean, a shocking declines in restaurants, airlines, lodging. Just look at the most recent poll on people who say they're going to go traveling in the next few months. It has plunged. I think the boom times are over. All the free money has been spent. And this is why I have a problem, Steve, with the Federal Reserve and interest rates, because if they look at aggregate data, it looks great. And so but the problem is that if 10% are doing 50% of the buying and everyone else is struggling because of higher rates, it's a no-win situation. In other words, we've got to wait until the richest people in America stumble before there's any relief from Main Street. And I think, as in addition to blowing up all the ways we examine data, we need to figure out a way for the Fed to re-examine how they do their job, the transmission of their policies, because they keep telling us they wield a mallet. Well, we need to find a way to wield the scalpel, because what they're doing right now is heads the rich people win, tails the rich people win.
Joel, Lindsay Group came out with a report a couple of weeks ago that I've mentioned a few times. Can Doge induce a recession? No, it can't, okay? You're not going to get a recession just from Doge. Now, there are other things that have happened in this economy with this slowdown. We could see a recession, but it's not going to happen just because they're cutting waste and abuse out of this government, Joel.
Yeah, no, you're exactly correct. In fact, of the last 5 years, we had about 3.1 million jobs, and about more than half were from government and from social services. And so those need to go.
It took Donald Trump 6 weeks to bring the U.S. from having the strongest economy in the world to the brink of recession. He insisted on imposing tariffs, even despite the chorus of voices insisting every single day that it would spike prices and shrink our economy. He insisted despite knowing that the economic uncertainty would impact the stock market. And yet now, lo and behold, the market has entered correction territory. This is what our market looks like compared to the rest of the world. That white line is the S&P 500. The lines above us are other major global indexes. Trump managed to preside over the worst market performance in the industrialized world, and it took him 6 weeks. He wants to be a memorable president. Nothing quite as memorable as squandering the strongest economy on the planet in just a few weeks for no reason whatsoever. But what's most striking is that Trump ran on lowering costs and getting money back into the pockets of everyday Americans. And yet now, not only are prices increasing for those everyday Americans, but the stock market crashing means that the retirement savings are plummeting as well. Trump was asked about this specific phenomenon. Here's what he had to say.
Go ahead. What else?
President, Americans who have seen their retirement accounts fall in recent day, they're getting very nervous about these tariff conversations.
Oh, I think the tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country. It's going to make our country rich again. We have many companies, as you know, auto companies are opening up plants now. We've had 4 or 5 announced already, but many more are coming. And we're basically going to take back the money, or a lot of the money that we've given away over many decades. We've lost our jobs, we've lost our factories. We've lost 90,000 factories since the beginning of NAFTA. It's not that long ago. 90,000 factories, think of that. And we're going to get them back, and they're coming back, and they're coming back in records. Look at what happened with the big chip company, the biggest in the world, by far the most powerful chip company in the world, from Taiwan, and they're going in with $200 billion of money, and they're going to build something that's going to give us 35-40% of the chip market in one company. No, it's going to bring it back, and I think it's going to make us bring us to a level that we've never had before. Bring us to a level that we've never had before.
So he's asked about retirement accounts falling, and his response is that tariffs are the greatest thing that we've ever done as a country. In case you thought that he would learn his lesson and offer up some relief for the economic hardship that he's ushering in, yeah, not so much. But in fairness, let's dig into that for a moment. He's suggesting here that the tariffs are going to help build up domestic industries, and so they're just a necessary evil. But remember, Biden was able to do all of those things that Trump is promising to do, and he didn't need to crash the stock market or launch a trade war to do it. Biden and Democrats passed the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS and Sciences Act, both of which led to a boom in clean energy manufacturing and domestic manufacturing. They are responsible for hundreds of billions of dollars.
Supply in the face of insufficient demand in other countries' domestic models. This system is not sustainable. Access to cheap goods is not the essence of the American dream.
See, you guys don't want cheap goods. You want to pay more for goods because that way you're really deriving the full essence of the American dream, right? Why save money when you can just more than make up for it in essence? So look, if Donald Trump, who would throw himself a parade on Pennsylvania Avenue for tying his shoes in the morning, if that guy is signaling that we're about to usher in a recession, then I think the writing is on the wall. And that's because he's not focused on bringing down costs. He is only focused on beating his chest and being a tough guy when it comes to our own allies, regardless of who it hurts. And who it'll hurt is everyone in this country. Trump promised to focus on you. Instead, you are the last person that he's thinking about.